Okay, Kerblam is the 7th episode of Series 11 of Doctor Who, written by Pete McTighe and directed by Jennifer Parrott. Now, before I go any further, here's what you gotta know about me. My favorite era of the show is the McCoy era, which is full of stories like this, wacky dystopian futures that are parables for our own world. My second favorite era of the show is the Russell T Davies era, which is also full of stories like this, but with better production values and more of an affectionate but pointed criticism of consumer culture rather than bureaucracy and authoritarianism. And the reason I'm saying all this is because this right here is like all of my favorite things, and there's a lot it does right, and yet it Well, I mean, look, it's
You're just making sounds now.
We start with a most charming moment, the Doctor getting a special delivery from the Kerblam Man, a funny robot. The Doctor's opinion on funny robots having changed a tad since the Tennant era, apparently. It's been a few hundred years, probably. People change. And speaking of past Doctors, it's a Fez. But there's a message on a packing slip. Help me! And away they go to the planet of the Kerblam Corporation. The Kerblanet, if you will, to find out who. They go undercover as workers and discover that all is not right. The managers are mean to the employees have nowhere else to go, the bad employees appear to be turned into goo, but people need jobs so no one complains. Most of the system is automated, but 10% of the employees are human beings because I guess work gives our life meaning. Though I'd be a bit more comfortable with this story if they were more blatant about the subtle message here.
600 million products, 10,000 employees, the biggest human workforce in this galaxy.
Welcome to another rewarding shift at Kerblam.
And that means it's time for a tangential ramble. Okay, see, a fully automated system sounds great and all. Like, the robots do all the work, the people just get to hang out and do whatever, except that a fully automated system of production under capitalism is inevitably going to suck for the vast majority of people. Like, it's one thing if it's Star Trek The Next Generation and there's no money because everybody has a replicator, computers handle everything, everyone gets to pursue their own interests and better themselves, regardless of something's value to the quote-unquote marketplace. That's great. I'd love that. Fully automated luxury space communism, sign me up. But if you eliminate the means with which people can make money without actually eliminating, money, congratulations. You've just ensured that a handful of people are going to do very, very well while everyone else starves, especially if the only higher authority is
The system.
Maybe you should call the police.
There are no police here.
Kerblam is its own jurisdiction.
And since that's where technology and society appear to be headed, the vast majority of us who don't happen to be Jeff Bezos or Elon Musk are fucked. And yet, as the Doctor points out later on, it's not the system that's evil, it's the way human beings exploit said system. In their own ways, Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk are kind of just playing their own role in the great panto of 21st century finance too. And since the system itself is arguably too Byzantine to tear down in a single day, perhaps the best we can ask of them right now is to play their inherently unethical parts as ethically as possible, which I guess lines up with my own personal feelings, i.e., capitalism's great so long as there are massive checks and balances in place to make sure that the free market actually remains, somewhat free. The end result of unregulated capitalism is studio apartment for $2,300 a month, most of which aren't even occupied most of the year. While most people who actually live in town can't afford to, actually live in town, and need to share a flat with 5 housemates when they're 30. Point is, Kerblam makes a lot more moral sense if you think about the situation back on the home planet in those terms.
How often do you see your daughter?
Twice a year I splurge on an economy shuttle. The rest of my wages I put away for her education.
So, Kerblam is completely automated.
No, 90% as per Candocan guidelines.
Companies have to make sure a minimum 10% of the workforce are actual people at all levels.
Oh, I hope that people feel it's a privilege to work at Kerblam.
Yes, the system desperately needs to be fixed, but it's complicated, so let's fix it in a way that doesn't actually eliminate anyone's main source of income. The solution will not be perfect. Exploitation will still occur. Things won't be as equitable as you might want. But, well, People will be able to afford a place to live, maybe. It also makes a lot more sense if you take it as read that this workplace is going to have a certain amount of annoying, condescending, exploitative, corny, BS, irritating micromanagement.
No such thing as privacy here.
They check up on us after every task.
Relax as I fix your group loop.
Are we under house arrest?
If you already see all that, as I do, symptoms of a sick and broken system that prioritizes profits over humanity, it's not like you need the episode to tell you that.
I wore one of these at my last job. Sports Stack, People's Republic of South Yorkshire.
It's just that you kind of maybe wanted, as I did, the system to be, more the bad guy instead of... Because, yeah, the actual bad guy in this episode is British Michael Cera here, who's an undercover activist bent on raising hell about automation by randomly killing lots of people.
People like me, my generation, we make things happen.
Just like Antifa, always turning toys into bombs and being vegan or whatever. The threat is automation, except it isn't. But let's look at how, for once this season, it is a fun episode where the Doctor gets to be the Doctor and do stuff and solve a convincing mystery plot that kept you guessing right up to the very moment when it kind of probably pissed you off a little bit.
I imagine customers opening their parcels, their big smiles. I only ever got a present once, but I can never forget how it felt.
See, there's sweet Kira, right? She's practically a Disney princess at the beginning of the movie, you know what I mean? I can imagine her singing a Menken and Ashman style I Want song. She was an orphan, only ever got one present. But
she imagines what it looks like when they open up their parcel, and the smile on their face is worth every second of abuse that I get. And I want to open up a present, and I want...
Sorry. Yeah, okay. Well, and Charlie loves her because how could he not?
I think you came here with a plan, but you didn't expect to fall in love.
They want us to be grateful that 10% of people get to work. Next time it will be 7%, then 5, then 1.
So he puts explosives in the bubble wrap because you can't help but pop the bubble wrap, right? That's a genius idea. Except the system finds out about his little crush on Kira and, knowing her weakness for presents, drops her in a position where she's bound to fall for Charlie's unwitting trap in order to teach him a lesson. That's not fridging, that's straight up pennying. Kira's dead, and the last thing she ever felt in her entire tragic, joyless, parentless, presentless life was disappointment at seeing an empty box. No, you sit with that. Anyway, I get the point they're trying to make because, no, you don't kill innocent people. But it would just be more pointy of a point if, one, the Doctor, who was clearly meant to be paired with Charlie in order to be in a position to stop him, hadn't swapped anklets with Graham, thus again putting the Doctor in a position where she can't actually help. And B, there had been some acknowledgement that, yeah, this whole system's messed up. I'm glad the HR lady's doing what she can to help the people who work there, but 2 weeks paid leave? You know they won't be able to work for a month. And if you sort of extrapolate in your brain that this is a future with both automation and capitalism, and everyone needs to work those insane hours to merely stay alive, this story has a strong moral core to it, except... if you're giving them 2 weeks paid leave but shutting down for a whole month, you've got to assume that a lot of these folks are living paycheck to paycheck as it is, and you might as well have just sent them home without pay for 3 weeks, and you know this company could pay out, but it won't. And if that's the case, no, Charlie shouldn't have sent out the exploding bubble wrap to random customers. He should have used the exploding bubble wrap to blow up the whole warehouse. He should have told everyone to, leave first, though.
I was a teenage anarchist, but the politics of cheap convenience